Hey, hey. I would say hey, homegirls, but apparently some of the men were a little bit ruffled, girl, in the DM. Tell me why they were upset because I said hey, homegirls, and I was calling y'all my girls. So a couple of men called me and was like, hey, by the way, we felt left out. So good morning, homeboys, too. And homegirls, okay? Homegirls are the priority. Like, come on, girly. Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Business, the place where we go beyond all the polished moments, social media highlights, and luxury branding to bring you what actually happens behind building a brand. I'm your host, Tiffany Hope, and twice a week we're going to be right here talking about the beauty, the business, but most importantly, the balance. We're also going to be getting into entrepreneurship, marketing, generating your leads, all the things that you have to do on the back end. So make sure that you tune in. This is your look on what it takes to build a business from the ground up. We're dropping episodes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, so remember to like, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications so that you never miss an episode. You can find us on Instagram at Behind the Business Talks. Remember to share this episode with your homegirls and homeboys, apparently, because we're all in this together and we're all building something. Now, let's get to today's episode of Behind the Business. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I know y'all tired of me saying that I'm passionate about this topic, but I'm really passionate about all the topics. Girl, we love a diverse queen, okay? So today we're going to be talking about something a little bit touchy. Should you hire your friends? Listen, before we get started, let me just preface this by saying we get one life, right? And we take chances on people, and people are brought into our lives at different times for different reasons. And I'm going to be spilling the tea today on should we hire our friends and what that actually looks like. So y'all know the first part, how we get into it. Our first segment always is going to be about the business and the details. So let's get into it. Firstly, being friends with somebody doesn't mean that you're automatically compatible in business. The generation that was before us, they were like the working generation. We are the business owner and entrepreneurial generation. A lot of times we want to collaborate. We want to call up the homie. We want to say, hey, I have this really great idea. I'd love if you'd come to help out with this. And that doesn't really land us in the best situations at times. Our friends really sometimes make really great friends, but other times they're not that good in business, and we can be confused at the beginning. And so today's episode is to encourage everybody to learn discernment between a friendship and a business relationship. Secondly, hiring friends can be amazing or messy. I want to be transparent about the fact that I've hired friends who turned out great, amazing people, amazing roles in the company. I would not trade them for the world. But there's a subset of people that I'm like, girl, I don't even know if you're a good friend anymore. Like, I don't even know if you are trying to sabotage or what you got going on, but I didn't see these things as a friend, and now I'm seeing them in business. And side note, even with yourself, when you start a business, you are going to learn things about yourself that you had no idea were a thing. If there's any childhood trauma or any things that you've suppressed, oh girl, it's bubbling up to the top when you start that business, okay? Things that you have the luxury of not talking about in your friendships to say, yeah, she might have did me wrong on that. He might have did me wrong on that. But I mean, it's not like a totally bad person. In business, oh, it's going to come up. And there's going to be other people on your team who are going to notice it and who are going to hold you accountable. More on that later. Next is your boundaries, communication, and accountability. I find it harder to hold anybody accountable when, let's be for real here, you're not paying them. Somebody's showing up for free for your business, I get it. At the beginning, you're piecing things together, you're trying to make things work, and you might not be as hard on people because you're not paying them. You have no leverage, right? People are just showing up for you. When you get to the level where you have money and you have that capital to be able to say, I paid for this job, and even if we are friends, I paid you to do something, this is my expectation. It's harder to enforce that when you haven't paid anybody. And immediately I always tell the team, if they say this person didn't deliver, my first question, did we pay them? Okay, so now we have a right to either fire them or keep them on. And I always say to hire slow and to fire quickly. It takes me a while to really bring somebody onto the team because this is so important to me. I'm so passionate about it. But when it comes down to firing, baby, you're done immediately, right? Same thing with dating and relationships. I don't need to see a man fumble me multiple times to understand and to realize this is not the man for me. I don't need to collect all those data points. I see it one time and you've shown me who you are. So that's it. When I think about my business, I need heavy hitters. I need people who are going to show up every time, on time, outwork everybody in the room. That's who I'm looking for in business. And the second you show me that's not who you are, I'm not saying that there's no such thing as grace or forgiveness, but when somebody shows you that they can't handle your business, that is the moment for you to say, okay, I don't need to see anymore. Sometimes we stick around. Sometimes we say, well, they were going through this, or they had this going on, or maybe this and that. Sometimes we see ourselves in that person, and we see the mistakes that we've made. And we want somebody to have shown us grace, so we might show this person grace. But let's level up. Let's understand the place that we're going. We can't take everybody. And sometimes the elevation does require separation. But when you know your people, they still can operate as your friends sometimes. But a lot of times when that business relationship is cut, girl, that friendship is also cut. That's just how it goes. Next is that your roles and expectations should always be clear. This is something that I have struggled with, I still struggle with, is the roles and expectations. My chief of operations, who is a very good friend of mine, he will tell you that he's the person that things need to go through for a second time. I believe in everybody off the rip. At least I used to. If somebody came up and said, I want to learn this, I want to do this, I want to do that, I'm like, girl, I got a job for you. I got a job for your mama. Come on, show up, because I wanted to save everybody in the community, girl. I'm like, please come up here and do this job. Anthony, our chief of operations, is like, hey, I will need a resume. I will need to interview you. I will need to interview you a few times. And I don't even look at a resume, okay? But see, here's the thing. Anthony is my friend. And not only is he protecting my business as a friend, he's just a good businessman. It comes down to the individual and to the person. And if you're like me and you want to save everybody and you want to hire everybody and do all those things, make sure that your communication and your boundary and expectations are clear. Because when it comes down to it, the biggest fault that I've witnessed is something one person expected and the other person had a whole different set of expectations. It's like two people going to the same party, both posted on Instagram, but you're viewing two different stories from two different perspectives. One person might say like, yeah, that party was popping, it was lit, it was great. And then another person is like, girl, that was the boringest party that I ever been to. Same place, same time, two different people, you're going to get two different perspectives. So just keep that in mind when you're hiring your friends. Continue to communicate and make sure that you are setting those expectations and that you are communicating clearly those expectations. The second part to that is going to be, how does this make sense to you? For me, group chats work. I will group chat a girl down at the end of the day. As soon as I meet you, group chat. You want to know why? Because I have so many things going on. I need to delegate them. I need a team member to step in and answer a question if I'm not available. For some people, email works. I'm not one of those people, and I'm not ashamed of it. If you send me 3 or 4 emails, girl, put it in one and send the most recent email. I'm not scrolling through. I'm not scrolling through an email chain is like finding one good hair bundle in a haystack. Like, it's not, I'm not doing all that. So send me the most immediate one. And if you ask me a question about it, I'm going to refer to the most immediate one. That's who I am. You have to learn who you are and understand how you communicate and how you receive information. So I tell the team, if I hire anybody new, hey, by the way, I'm really great at group chats. I got my phone with me all the time. If you need to holler at me, texting me is great. I also, when I get random inspiration, and the team will tell you, I get random inspiration, midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I'm like, what if we did this? What if we did that? I'm not putting that in an email, right? Because that's going to disrupt my creative flow. But again, that's who I am. You don't need to feel bad about how you communicate or what your expectations are. The only thing you need to do is to express and communicate them properly. The next thing, which is kind of difficult, is that respect matters more than comfort. I was really uncomfortable in the beginning setting my boundaries and setting my expectations, especially when I hired friends. My friends would, they know me from the real world, and then they come to work with me or to work for me. And then I'm like, I really have to tell this person like what these things are. And it made me super uncomfortable a lot of the time. But I realized that my true friends are people who respected me, people who would overcome that level of discomfort in order to deliver. And I've learned over time that even hiring strangers, some people now can find you on Instagram. I've had a few people work for the company who found me on Instagram, DM me, hey girl, this looks lit, this looks great. I love to do this for the company and do that for the company. Girl, hired them. And they didn't know left from right when it came down to it, right? That was a harder conversation to have because they came into my environment with an expectation of me, seeing how I live on Instagram and thinking that that's what they were going to be a part of, when really you are here to work and that's it. And that caused what some people may have considered a friendship to deteriorate. Not because I called it a friendship, but because I'm going in as somebody, you don't know me. You came in the DM. I looked and I saw your Instagram and your resume. I thought it was great. I hired you. But then some people come into it thinking whatever their perception is, they might project that. And they might think that they're your friend. And a lot of people on Instagram think that they are the homegirl, right? And sometimes they are. But when it comes down to your business, the girl that you met on Instagram that just started working and doing all these things, if she's not producing or if he is not producing, for sure that's not your friend. For sure. Outside of that, they barely your employee, girl. They barely work for you. If you're saying you can deliver on something and you can't. So knowing the difference between those two has really, really had an impact on me and has helped me in my hiring decisions. Nextly is that your business decisions can impact your personal relationships. When I go to make a decision in business, I'm the ultimate veto power. That's why I like being the boss, okay? Ultimate veto. I don't care what somebody's saying. I don't care if somebody say, this is what we need to do, this is what we should do. If I disagree, girl, I disagree with you, okay? That's it. It's done. In friendships, y'all know it don't work like that. If I think we should go to a certain restaurant and my girlfriends are like, nah, we should go here, okay? I can't say, well, I made the decision, girl, this is where we're going. I have to go with the majority or the group or whatever's going to be amicable for the benefit of our friendship, right? In business, I can make decisions because I trust myself, because I've been in the business for 8 years and I know what it looks like. When that same chief of operations came in and said, hey, maybe we need to do this project. I had already done that project, failed at that project, tried it again, failed again, sunk my money into it. And so he's coming in with a fresh perspective thinking like, oh, this is a great idea. And I had to let him know, hey, been there, done that. Not because I want to be this boss that's like, oh, because I said so. No, because I've been through it. I've done my research. I've done my due diligence. And I know that it's not going to work. And then I'm the person that's backing this project. So I for sure am not putting my time and money into something that I already have done trial and error on, right? That's easier in business than it is anywhere else because you are the boss in your business essentially, or you are an executive, or you are somebody who brings something creative to the table that people need to listen to. And when I got to that level, I just had to let him know, no, we're not doing that. And he respected it and we moved on from it. But I said that to say, sometimes I veto just if the team is getting a little bit too off brand. I created my company, Studio 92 Hair. I created it with my heart and my soul and my spirit. Nobody else's heart, nobody else's soul, nobody else's spirit. So they are coming in trying to continuously feed and build on a vision that was originally mine. And I have thought about Studio 92 Hair for the next 100 years. I have thought about it when the grand girlies and the grand homeboys are watching this YouTube and I am gone. I have thought about it all the ways that you can think about it, right? And so when something comes in that is not aligned with who we want to be even in the future, veto immediately. There's a flip side to that though, which is hearing people out. When we got our first billboard in Times Square, I wanted to put everybody's name on it. I wanted to say the makeup artist was this person, the creative director was this person, the photographer was this person, and our chief of marketing was like, Tiffany, no. This is a billboard that is for our company and our promotion. We're not putting the names of the staff on it. And I felt away because I'm like, girl, do you have any idea what it took for us to get here? Girl, we putting our name on it. I want my mama to be able to go and see it. And everybody else, mama, you feel me? She wasn't with it. Looking back, I have so much respect for the decision that she made from a marketing perspective to only include the hair campaign. And before y'all say, girl, why would you want all these people on it? Because I wanted them. Because it matters. It matters to have people who have built something, things that we think are a part of our daily life and pop culture, things that we think just exist, like refrigerators and carpet and cars and airplanes. Somebody somewhere had an idea. and put their effort behind it. So I would be remiss if I didn't try to bring all the people and let them get their shine for things that will be so a part of our pop culture that people are like, oh yeah, I got my hair from Studio 92 Hair. They're not thinking about the people who packaged it and about the operations manager who developed an SOP for how to package it. And for me, handwriting thank you notes. My mama sat down with me and wrote 500 thank you notes when I started my business 8 years ago. They're not thinking about my mama being up at that time. They're thinking about, I got my hair, I got my thank you note, girl, this is cute, I'm going to tag you. While that's appreciated, we have to understand that there are people behind this who have built something for us to receive and for us to take part in. When you go to get your food from Starbucks, when you go to get your food from whichever Chick-fil-A or whatever, your coffee from Starbucks, trust and believe that there were people just like you, just like me, who started with an idea and who developed that into something that took many people. If you are a hairstylist, all those hot tools you have, different people, different ideas. If you are a makeup artist, all the makeup you use, different people, different ideas. But when you go to do somebody's hair, when you go to apply that makeup, you are the sole person doing it. But you don't realize there's collective generations of ideas and thoughts and failures and tears that came behind that allowed you to be who you are. I'm sitting on a chair right now today because somebody had an idea that we should not sit on the floor, right? Even building this chair came from generations ago where somebody built the very first thing to solve a human problem. And here's the thing is that we all, no matter when you were born, no matter when you leave this earth, we all will have a human experience. And there's going to be people behind that who's made our experience better, who have been innovators. And I like to bring all those people. I like to shed light on all those people. And in business, I wanted to do that, especially because they were my friends. A lot of them were. And I'm like, I want my friend to be in this magazine. When we got our first magazine with Glam Week, I wanted those friends to be a part of it. And so if you see our Glam Week magazine, every single page is dedicated to somebody. We have, this was our makeup artist. This was our creative director. This was our hairstylist. Things that aren't necessarily meant to reach our customer, but it means something to me. And when I hire my friends, when I hire people who I know are doing right by my business, they deserve a small piece of the pie too. This is not advice to tell you to add your homies on everything. Girl, this is not that, okay? Definitely don't do that. Use your discernment. But also understand that, like I said before, nobody is successful on their own. And there's a very thin line between people who will hold you down and people who won't. Sometimes you have to wait until it's dark out to see who's really with you. And when you get to that level, that's when you understand the difference between an employee and your friends. That's what I have for you all today before I get into it and start crying, girl, because it's making me a little emotional, okay? I'm going to get into this story time next, though, so y'all don't got to worry. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Behind the Business. I will see you in just a second for the story time. Okay, y'all. As you can see, I don't have any note cards. You want to know why? Because it's all on the dome. That's why. This is all personal experience. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is our story time. This is one of my favorite parts of the podcast because I can get into the real stories and everything. I'm going to tell you all about my experiences with hiring my friends. I'm not going to use any names because I don't want to put anybody out there. But if I get rowdy, then I might use some names. Because what? Don't ever try to play with me. Because some people did do that. They did. Okay, so let's start. Like I just mentioned in our first segment, I have hired some really amazing friends. And I am never taking away from what those people have done for me as a human being and for my business and also for themselves. Shout out to all of my real friends who have shown up in business and have done my business the way they would do their own. I'm eternally grateful to those people. The other side to that is there are a couple of people who I've hired, girl. You know who you are. And you really about to get me tight again. You really about to get me, you better get me tight all over again just thinking about it. Because why would you do that? Like, all right, let's get into it. So, girl, I had a homie who claimed to be good at marketing. Zoom in. Don't piss me off right now. Claimed to be good at marketing, girl. She couldn't market, girl. She couldn't market Ice Cube to a igloo. Okay, I don't even know what she had going on, but she couldn't do it. And she showed up one day, girl. We on set at one of our NFL accounts. She showed up, girl, with a little outfit on. Guess what the wardrobe is? All black. That's it. Because we are the help. We are helping. We are providing a service and we are getting paid. You showing up with a crop top and jeans is crazy. You're crazy. You're wild. You're wild. And when I saw it, we at the stadium, walk in. I was like, are you going to change or what? That's what I said in my mind. But I have so many different things going on. I'm showing up to sign contracts with this organization. I'm making sure that the girls look great. I'm making sure that our hair is presented well and not on my peripheral. Girl, I see a little jean, a little boot cut walk in. I said, oh, I know she lying. So get through the whole day. Get back the next day. You're fired. You're fired, fam. And not because you showed up in a jean. You're fired because you were on this specific duty and she did not have the tools. She was social media. Girl asked me if I had a charger. I would be embarrassed. I would be embarrassed if I had to ask somebody if they had a charger and I'm in charge of social media and your phone about to die. So she had to use my phone to get the pictures. I said, I could have just did this, right? Fired immediately. All right. I ain't even gonna give her that much time because it's not even worth it. Yeah, I said it. Hit me up. I want all the smoke because you played with me. All right. Scoot that one to the side. Next on the docket, girl. Bring it up. Boom. Photographer! Girl, my photographer for over a decade. This is the worst part. Oh, girl, it was two of them. Ooh, this is about to make me emotional. These were my homies. These are my homies. And one of them, we had a bond, like a next level. I can be vulnerable with you. You have access to my life kind of bond. Girl, let me tell you what I found out. You know how we do our hair campaigns at Studio 92 Hair? If not, go hit us up at Studio 92 Hair. Each month we drop a new collection. Each month we do a hair campaign. Hired the homies. You a photographer. I'm going to hire y'all together. We should be able to get this done. Boom. Girl, why did I find out that they were not downloading the raw file? They were just editing from a low quality download for a billboard in New York City and for our features in magazines. Ooh. Do y'all have a fire extinguisher? Because I feel like I'm gonna need it because you got me tight. I'm paying top dollar. I'm paying your rate as your friend in business. I'm paying you what you said that you were worth. So naturally, I'm like, if this is what you said, every person that I'm bringing up right now, they will tell you I never skimped on the pay. And I say that with 100% confidence. When the person asks for their pay, I pay it. Not because I believe in you, but because you should believe in you. That's how I show up. I'm not negotiating with anybody. I'm not talking anybody down. I am financially abundant, always have been, I am right now, and I always will be. And I strongly believe in paying people for the job that they will produce. So if you say, I can produce this job, I can show up and do these things, girl, you got it, okay? When I hired the homies and I gave them chance after chance, and I'm like, nah, this image is like a little fuzzy to me. Nah, this image is not doing what I want it to do. And then one of them said, randomly, girl, this wasn't even in like a meeting. One of them said, yeah, it's because I don't have access to the high resolution photos. I heard, what? It's been 3 months since the shoot. Why don't you have access to the high resolution photos, homie? And then the other homie jumped in the chat and said, oh, let me take this. It's because I didn't send them. Are y'all okay? My last message to them was like, y'all got me effed up. That literally is the last message. Great thing we don't have an HR department yet. What? Because I'm paying y'all to show up and do this job, and y'all are editing from a low quality image. The first thing is, as the CEO of this company, I'm outsourcing people who know things better than I do, who can do their job better than I can. I'm not outsourcing just because I'm one human being and I can't do all the jobs. That's a portion. But also, I'm not equipped to be a photographer or videographer or hairstylist or makeup artist or all these things that I outsource and hire for. And I hire the best. One thing my team will tell you is that I pull up to the finish line, okay? I'm never starting at the beginning because I have put in the work and I have put in the time to become the woman and the businesswoman who I am today. A cutthroat leader who will lead people into battle and will prevail. That's the type of leader that I am. So when you come in on this team and you're editing from a low quality image and we have a billboard in Times Square, actually pull up to where I am because I'm about to square with you, like in the real world. Like that's the only way I could even think about it. So I messaged both of them like, are y'all okay? Like, just let me know. Both of them. Both of them. Don't know what to say. And you know what I realized? Click, hang up, hire a new photographer. Holler at our most recent campaign. Our new photographer is with it. Shows up on time. Does not allow small petty things to get into their way. Make sure that our images are captured. Make sure they're edited and produced in a certain amount of time. It moves the program forward. You know how many times my other photographers say, did we get the shot? Did we get it? I don't know. Did we get it? Like, you are the photographer, bro. Did we get the shot? Yes or no? Once the veins start popping in the neck, you done piss me off, bro, because I'm hiring you to do a job and you asking me, did we get the shot? Ooh, can we say that on YouTube? I don't know. But you done pissed me off now, okay? I'm like, you tell me if we got the shot. You the photographer. If you can't tell me if we got it or not, go ahead, pack up them lights, and go ahead and hit that curb, right? And it sucks because these are my friends. The part that hurt me the worst was like, how dare you? Not in business, because if you was a stranger off the street, you don't owe me nothing. You don't owe me any loyalty. You owe me nothing. But the homie, and I'm putting you at the top to be in magazines and billboards. I'm opening up the door for you, and you gonna edit from a low res, bruh? Like, I started to low res the friendship. That's how I should have just low res the whole friendship because you're crazy. I don't even know. So nonetheless, those people had to go, and I have not talked to them since. And this is what I realized out of all of that. People who were ill-equipped for a job, who knew they did not deserve the opportunity in the first place, will not fight. That is any relationship. If you are dating somebody who is too good for you, if you are dating somebody who you are too good for, and you decide to leave that relationship, you want to know why they didn't fight? You want to know why my homies didn't call me, hey, give me another shot, let me do another photo shoot? Because they knew that they were ill-equipped from the beginning. But you saw something in them that they could not see in themselves. And that's what we might fall for, potential, what you could do, what you could be. But let's start getting into reality. Let's start understanding that when we go to hire our friends, when we go to hire the homies, let's hire the real friends who are going to show up, who would never let you down, who would communicate their vulnerabilities. I didn't find that in that situation. And like I said, I do not want this to negate all of the great friends that I have in business, all the people who have been holding me down day in and day out when I had nothing. People have shown up and done me justice in situations where I didn't deserve. I would lay down everything for those people. But for the low res group, leave them where they are, right? Let's do that. That's what I have for you all today. I'm so happy to have shared that story because I feel like I just got it all out. Like I had been holding it in after they acted crazy with me. So now that I got it all out, thank you all so much for tuning into another episode of Behind the Business. I am so grateful and so happy to have you a part of my community. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so that you never miss an episode. Thank you, and I will see you next time on Behind the Business.